for me.
Okay, good to go. All right. Welcome back, and my apologies for last week that I wasn't able to do our session. Some of you may have heard, but my daughter got quite sick, had to have an emergency surgery, and so she was the Thursday evening at the hospital. Friday, of course, still at the hospital. Dad was still at the hospital with her mom and stuff. So I figured that early in the morning at 9, I let Matt know. Chances are I'm not going to be able to race back in time to do it. So that's why last week was postponed. So what we'll do is combine last week's and today, the one that would have been today. The one that would have been today is actually more of an abbreviated session. So combining the two, we should be able to keep it around 2 hours, I would think, depending upon questions and whatnot. And so, as I've done before, we've got the manual that we've got somebody in the room have the hard copy, and Matt's giving you guys the electronic copy at home. And that document, we're going to go outside of it, inside of it, outside of it. We're going to kind of bounce around, but Matt's got everything teed up and ready to go. Today's session is listing presentations you're prepared for. Of course, we have two types of people we work with, buyers and sellers. And so initially, as I said before, most people like to work with buyers because they're a little bit less cumbersome to work with, a lot less detail that we need to do versus the listing where we do the data form sheets and all that kind of nice stuff. But ultimately, when we do a listing, there's always two things that you're going to be confronted with and deal with at every listing presentation I've ever done and anyone I've ever heard being done. And there's two things. Does anybody know what the two things you're always going to be talking about at a listing presentation? Commission and
Price.
your price. Commission and price are the number one and two things that are always going to be discussed. We're going to give you some dialogues there. We'll start with some of them here just to give you a flavor of that. Everyone should have from Matt 2 weeks ago the Floyd Wickman stuff that I had myself invested lots of money in years ago. It's wonderful material. If you can download it and listen to it through your, I don't know, it's like Spotify accounts or something like that, or whatever.
Maybe downloading them as like actual sound files. So
Sound files.
yeah,
Listen to them in your car.
Which one is that?
Floyd Wickman.
Yeah. So Matt sent that 2 weeks ago for us, right?
Yeah.
If you really want to invest quality time and training, listen to those recordings. They are brilliant. When I was selling real estate on a weekly basis, I would guesstimate 10 to 15 hours a week. I was listening to this. So it was internalized into me. Sometimes I'd turn it on and fall asleep with it on, because I've read a lot of studies that helps implant into your subconscious, unconscious mind, right? But I was always feeding my brain with these words. And so when I was selling, I was always ready to perform at the highest level, as opposed to, you go out and try to force your way through a situation or reinvent your way through a situation. The more practice you do, the better, right? So we're going to expose you to a couple of new concepts and dialogues today. We're going to go through some of the old material that I had, including one that I had found my last time I coached. This was me probably in about 1998. And yes, that's a glamour shot. And it was a thing that I used in my listing presentation. Like I said, I found it a couple months ago. So I used it in my last session and people got a joke. You can actually pull it up, right? I'm just going to probably zoom in on my glamour shot picture. I was 28 years old in that picture. We're going to go through an exercise I created, and I call it the commissionectomy. Because again, commission you're going to talk about in the price. And I'm going to show you how dangerous it is for you to cut your commission and what that looks like in the long term. We're going to do a fee model of commissions. And so when I sold real estate, I created my own platform of structuring it in choices for people. People like to do choices, right? And so, you go to the gas station and you got to fill your gas up. Now, Tesla drivers, I know you don't have to do that anymore, lucky you. But for the rest of us that have to go to the gas pump, when you pull up, there's options, right? There's the, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Well, I created a similar thing like that for real estate fees, my system. And I got to direct, with the client how we were going to choose which one we were going to select. And they all came with services. So you'll get to see that. And what I share with you, it's up to you to take that and use it or not use it. But I'm just exposing you to, different ideas. And then I'm going to go a little bit into some other dialogues for commission handling at the end, just so that you're kind of primed with it. But as I said, really invest the time in listening to the Floyd Wickman material, because it's older material, but I'm telling you, it still works. It works better than the new material. In fact, a lot of the new material is sourcing their content from the old material. And I won't name the name of one of the big names out there, but basically Floyd Wickman's product that they're selling on the street. And with the commission side, you really need to be at the top of your game. And I brought this little report. Maybe just pop this up for a second. That on anything? Yeah. This is a report that was produced called the Commission Cutting Report. I received that. In what year would you guess I received that report? Pardon me?
20 years last?
1998 was given to me by Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry is the father of Tom Ferry. Okay. Mike Ferry, still the father, still is a trainer. He was training in the 70s, 80s, right up to now. And he wrote this report about commission cutting from 1998. Why I'm including this and giving, you're going to get the report so you can read it, is that this is not a new thing. We all think this is brand new. Everybody's cutting commission. Oh my God. Yeah, Mike, it's different. When you sold, you got the big bucks. You got 5%, you got 6%. Yeah, on a $150,000 sale or a $250,000 sale was a big sale back in the 90s for me, right? A $500,000 sale in the 90s was like selling a $4 million property today. So, things have changed, yes, but what's not changed is people like to challenge you on your fee. And you know what? You got to think from a psychological perspective. Don't be angry with them asking. It's a natural thing that we all do. Do you not do that yourself? If you've gone to a car dealership, do you not try to negotiate the purchase price of your car, right? Or let's say you're booking a vacation and you're going online. You go to Expedia, or you go to Travel Hub, or all these. Aren't you looking for the best price? You're searching. So this is built into all of us. So when somebody comes to ask you to cut your fee, appreciate that, embrace that. Don't take the negative side, like, oh, he's trying to, take money out of my pocket, right? It's the communication side from you. It's going to help you negotiate the fee that you want in your business. Because here's the thing. If you embark on your career or developing your career pattern of reducing your fee, cutting your fee, that's what you're going to be known for when they refer you. Oh, call Mike, because Mike will give you a big discount on the fee. That's the business you're going to solicit and attract. And if that's what the business is you want to attract, it's fine, because it is your business, right? But just be mindful that if once you put yourself on that setting, it's really hard to go upwards. The easy way is going down. Anybody, and when you read this report, he talks about it, anybody can go in and compete against Mike County that's going to charge 5% and go, yeah, I'll do it for 3.5%. And I'll possibly be as good as I would be, as good as you are. Somebody's going to go, well, it's $1 million property. It's 1.5% less than what Mike's charging. That's $15,000. It's real money, right? They don't realize, though, that the person, and I'll share a dialogue with you, that's doing that is really harming them. And I'm going to share you a brilliant dialogue that I used to use and people use today still to combat that kind of thing. So we're going to do a couple of, I got the red pen. We're going to do a couple of kind of mock dialogues for you. One is, imagine for this one here, this section here, you're receiving a phone call. Okay, so this is a phone call you're receiving from a prospective seller. Okay, and you're talking, you're developing rapport on the phone. I'll leave that to you how you want to do that. You were sharing with us that you're doing a karaoke event tomorrow night, right? So maybe it's somebody in your karaoke sphere that's going to say, hey, I want to call you. It's Sonia, right?
Yes.
Sonia. So they're going to call Sonia on Monday because Sonia was brilliant on karaoke. She was like Alanis Morissette, or she was, what's the one that's the Titanic singing one? Celine Dion. You're the Celine Dion of Royal Paid Signature, right? So on Monday, one of those people call you because they're thinking about selling the home. And it was just a perfect timing. Like, hey, you did this event, blah, blah. She calls you, they call you, and you start your conversation. And the conversation on the phone, one of these questions pops up. What do you charge for your commission? What's your answer to that question? Now, you're on the phone. You haven't done any homework. You don't know where, exactly the street is possibly. You don't know what's sold in the last 3 months or what's expired in the last 3 months. You don't know any trends. What's your answer to the question? Do you think you're going to, first of all, do you think somebody's going to ask you that kind of question on the phone before you've done any homework, any research? And what's the knee-jerk reaction that we typically find with realtors that are not trained by Signature? Well, you might come out and say, I charge 1%.
How about like we can have a meeting and we can discuss like how.
Love
we
it.
can look.
Yeah. So rather than being committal and saying, I'm going to charge 3.5%, 2.5% to the cooperating broker, 1% to me, you're making a commitment without knowing what you're actually selling, right? So you want to do, a shuffle, right? They've shot an arrow at you and you just want to duck it and let the arrow go by, meaning you're moving it out to a later date. So here's what I actually, through Floyd Wickman, love this answer. I don't even know if that's a real word, but Floyd uses it. I don't know. I don't know. Anita, when would be a good time for us to meet so we can get together and discuss the sale of your property? Because I need to see your property before I can make a decision on the fee. Okay, so direct arrow shot at me. What's your commission? What do you charge for a commission? I want to sidestep that. Don't want to make a commitment. And I go, I don't know. And here I'll put ... You make it up. If you didn't like what I just said, Anita, let's get together. It won't be a good time to do it. Tonight at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock work better because we need to get together. I need to see your home before I can make that decision. Does that make sense? Perfect. Right? That's the big dodge of the 2 dodge questions you got to dodge. Dodge number 2 is, what is my home worth? Because of course, they know you're a great realtor, you're a rock star. You should know the price of everything in every community in Ontario, right? What's my home worth? How are you going to dodge that one? How can you sidestep that one?
Need to come and see, we can have a meeting and go through your house and.
Going to give you a better one, a golden answer to you. It's funny. It's the same answer.
I don't know.
I don't know. Can you learn that simple dialogue? I'll say it all with me at the same time. Say it with me. I don't know. And like I said, I don't know if G's a real word, but doesn't it sound kind of cool? I've been using it for 30 years. I learned it in my first year in real estate.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Community, we address anybody with JIG.
Oh yeah.
Like if Sonia G, like just
Right.
a respectful. way
Yes.
of saying G.
Yes, the GI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a respect term,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I got it. This is a different G.
Yeah.
This is the I don't know, right? You're actually kind of making it comical, but you're doing the dodge with that question, right? Do you like that one?
Yes.
That's going to make you a lot of money because it's not going to have you committing. No commitment. Why would you commit to something before you know what you're committing to? Because let's say we go there and we've done our research, we know the property, we know the comps, we knew all this stuff, and the property value is $750, but they want $900,000 and they want you to do it for 3.5%. And they're only going to give you 60 days to list it. Why'd you even go to the property? Right? Because you committed before you went to 3.5%. And you committed to, a price that, because they said, well, I think my house is worth 900. Oh yeah, we could probably get you 900, right? Agents do this to themselves all the time, and that's fine. It's just you're sharpening your saw, your skill set, right? The saw that you use to work with. So it's a G I don't know. The next one is the willing to work. Willing to work. And there's, what is that? 7 words. And it's willing to work for whatever we can agree upon. Well, look, Anita, I'm willing to work for whatever we can agree upon. Pause. Provided, and this is a pause. Provided, and you make it up yourself. Provided that you list at the price that I recommend. Provided that you list at the fee that I recommend. You make that up. You come up with your own solution. But I'm willing to work for whatever we can agree upon. Provided. It's all language and communication. The worst thing we do as real estate realtors or agents realtors is we get adversarial with people when it comes to these 2 things, the commission and the price of the house. We get into this war, this battle, and you don't want to do that. It's the worst thing you can do, okay? What if? The what if scenarios. There's dozens of what if scenarios. What if, the first one, what if, and we're on the phone, right? Because we want to get this information before we actually go to the house. If you don't do it over the phone, make sure you do it early in the presentation. What if you do not sell your what? What if we do not sell your home property? Anita, what if we don't sell your home? Want her to answer? I want to give it. Well, I'm just testing the market, maybe she says. People say that to you? I'm just testing the market. Oh, okay. I'm a realtor. I'm going to invest a lot of my time, energy, resources, and money. Is this somebody that I really want to be working with? You know, what if you don't sell your home anymore? Well, I guess I'll just stay here then. That question is gauging what?
You're not motivated.
Correct. Motivation.
Keep saying, I don't have to sell.
Right.
I don't have to sell.
Okay. But why are you then, so if you're saying that to me, I'm coming back to you and saying, and why would you put yourself through the next 3 months of showings, having to keep your house spotless and taking your dogs out when people are coming if you don't have to sell? I wouldn't put my family through that. So you come up with a rational kind of scenario where how are they going to answer that then? So you're going to inconvenience your life for the next 60 or 90 days, right? Or 30 days because you don't have to sell. And you make the communication fun, right? You don't want to be judgmental or anything. You kind of use the inflection points. But that doesn't make sense, does it? Like you're going to actually leave your house for a half an hour, so people can trot through your house and look at your property. You got to take your kids and your dog because you don't want to sell the house. Okay, right? It's the language, right? What if? What if you could not? You could not. Make sure I got this one right. Yeah. Get what you want for your home. That's the valuation. What if? So the what if is the question, and these are the ... These are just 2 ... scenarios. You can create your own scenarios. But what if you could not get what you want for your home? What if? What's going to happen? I'm not going to sell. And if they want $950 and the house is worth $800, what's your decision going to be as the listing realtor? Right? You may want to take it. Like there's people that will take that. But no going into taking something like that, that you're not a magician, you're not David Copperfield or Houdini. You can't, make this thing miraculously sell when it's, 20, 30% above its market value. But if you want to work and try to be that miracle magician, great for you. But at least you know what you're doing when you go do that. So that when this thing called frustration when frustration sets in, at least you consciously know why you're frustrated. You're not filling in the blanks, imaginary blanks that, it's you're not good enough. I can't sell the 900,000, 950 property that's worth 800, right? And you frustrate yourself. You like those kind of dialogues? Pretty cool. What would it take? Dialogue. Again, it's the ... You make it up. I'll give you the one that I use. What would it take to list with me today? What would it take for you to list with me today? What kind of dialogue question is that?
Find the objection.
So yeah, you may have gone through those types of objections. There might be one straggler, two straggler that's out there. This is a closing style question. It's going to draw out whether there is any lingering questions they may have or concerns. Okay, what would it take for you to list with me today? Move on, right? This is just a distraction kind of dialogue, is what I'd call it. So now you say something back on a question like that, what would it take? Where I'm like, maybe I'm stunned a little bit and I don't have an answer, but I want to buy some time. That sounds really interesting. Tell me more. Okay. Again, I'm ducking because I don't really have maybe my repertoire right away to give you something right away. So I'm like, and it's all inflection, it's acting, it's practicing. That sounds interesting. Tell me more about that. Now I'm going to make you tell me more. I'm drawing it out of you because I don't have the answer, mate. Right? So are those pretty good? 5 good dialogues. You're going to learn a couple more at the end of the session. These are listening style dialogues that you should be putting into your repertoire, or at least have handy. This one here is your the distraction where we don't have an answer, okay? This here, I just put this up. Is anybody ever familiar with or heard of the Ben Franklin closing? How you do Ben Franklin? It's been around. Well, Ben Franklin's a founding father of the United States, so the 1770s, 80s, 90s, right? And so there's this thing, they teach it in business school. I learned it in business school. The Ben Franklin close. And essentially what you do is you take a sheet of paper, right? And you put a line across, you go pros, cons, line down. And this model here for Ben Franklin, this is the pro, this is the con, right? So I'll say pro, con. Everybody know what pro and con means, right? Pro is good, con is bad. So these are the good reasons. So this is a Ben Franklin close for fees, where if you're really stuck, you can pull out the paper and start writing down the pros of why you want to list with somebody that's a full fee, because we can invest in staging, marketing, painting, rehab, decluttering, virtual tour, professional measurements. And you're going to see that in my fee-based model, actually, a very brief version of that. And if I reduce my fee, what are the cons on that? If I'm a discount broker, well, then this one's limited marketing. So I'm not going to do staging. I'm not going to do declutter, I'm not going to do all these things. And you know what? I don't know what it is that's going to sell your property. But I know if I do all of these things, the likelihood of me selling your property is incredibly increased. However, if you go discount route, you're taking away things that I don't really know exactly what's going to help sell it. Is it going to be the staging that helps sell it? Is it going to be the virtual tour that's going to sell it? Is it going to be my ads in the newspaper that's going to sell? Is it going to be my blah, 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 whatever it is? I don't know the answer, but if you start to take and eliminate these things out, you reduce my ability to sell the property. Does that make sense? I'm asking you like that, but you ask them that. Because of course it makes sense. It's logical. So if I'm only going to list on MLS, which we all think MLS, by the way, is the thing that sells the house 100% of the time. If you just go into, in the back, don't pull that out, go to Treb Market Watch, and I want to know what the sales were with active listing. Do that division map for me. The vast majority of us think that like 80 or 90% of all listings on Treb sell on MLS, and it's not the case. It fluctuates from like 25% to about 65%. There was a window of a couple of years when we were really crazy that, yeah, I went like 75, 80%. But if you look historically, and I used to track that in my business all the time to show people, black and white statistics don't lie. They're not my statistics, they're the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. In the markets like in December, January, February, you're 25 to 35% products sell. That's it. Not 80%, not 90%. In a hot market, up until we came into those crazy times, which was only like 4 or 5 years ago, the best market was like 74%. That was the best market. It's not 100%, it's not 90%. So there's other variables that you're doing, these types of things, and these things cost money. They cost money. And we're now.
I have it. Can I
Sure.
I don't know what you exactly want. Can I bring it up real quick?
Yeah. Better put that down so that I don't write on the. I've done that before.
So what are we looking for?
Go up here, right here. Up. Oh, I got it.
Can I hit your pen button bottom left?
Bottom
Then
left.
you can drop.
Okay, so you're taking this number here and dividing it into this number here, and you're going to get the ratio. Just eyeballing that, I'm going to tell you you're probably about 35 to 40% is that number. Does anybody want to just do a quick math calculation for me on that?
39%.
39%. And what did I say, 35 to 40? Pretty good. So you're 39% of all listings on Treb sold last month. That's last month, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Isn't that pretty powerful information to tell people at the listing table? Because they think all you do is put it on MLS, and then you go on vacation, you go to the fancy restaurants, drive your nice car, go on vacation, right? That's all you do, MLS. That's telling you, it's a far cry from that. Now, here's where you want to get really smart with numbers. You're going to want to know what your list to sale ratio is. This is what's called the list to sale ratio, or that's what I call it. I don't know if there's a real term for it, but I called it always the list to sale ratio. That was my term. You want to know what your personal list to sale ratio is. So let's use simple math. You've done 10 sales in your career. Okay. And you had, to get 10 sales, you did 15 listings. What's your listing sales ratio? It's not a good one, by the way, but do the math for me.
66%.
66. Is that what it is?
Well, is it 10 divided by 15, right?
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with 66. Better than 32, but it's still a crappy number. How about if though we go, you had 12 listings and 10 sales. Where are we now? Those are
12
80.
listing, 10 sales.
80-ish. So you're 83%. For those of you that go to school or have been to school like myself, and that's an A. Congratulations, you got an A. This here is like F. That's your A. You want to get to know what your numbers and ratios are. I was in the 90 percentile. So when I would do my presentation, by the way, I would show as part of my package, and I left it in my office. I have a binder that I used to use to like my buyer one. Section was a bunch of my sales. Now, imagine I did every year, I did dozens of sales, right? And I had the contacts. So if you want to fact check me that this is true, there's the contact information. You can call them. Because all my clients, I always say, would you be willing to receive calls from prospective clients of mine just to check up on me? Absolutely, no problem, right? So I'd have in my little list all of my sales, and I'd have my ratio of like I sold 94% of my listings, right? Check me out. Go ahead there, look and fact check me. That's a new term out there, right? Fact check, right?
So besides MLS, what are the different platforms
What do you mean?
to like advertise a listing?
Today,
Facebook, I know, but
yeah, Facebook Marketplace. I mean, people are doing Instagram stuff. They're doing, I'm not a techie guy. I would have, today, if I was still selling, I would be hiring and outsourcing that to people that do that. I'm not that, I'm a salesperson selling real estate. And all I'm going out and doing is finding resources and good resource professionals that fill those gaps. So from the marketing perspective, well, I used a company called Kits. Kits. That's owned by a guy named David Greenspan. And if you want to have a fun joke, laugh, next week on Wednesday, I think it's at 1 o'clock, I'm on his podcast. David is a North American-wide speaker for real estate. He does events like, well, he did the AREA convention, he did, which I did as well, and he does the NAR in Korea, and all kinds of things. He's a public speaker. But his business is personal branding and marketing company. And these are an amazing platform for you to use where there's direct mails that he can do with you. There's all kinds of things. But it's called Kits Communication, and David Greenspan is the owner of that company. David, his thing is called Mindshare. Have you heard this term from anybody? That's his baby. That's his branding, is Mindshare. So he does all these conventions. It's a great thing. But you know, why would I be able to sell at 94% and everybody else is at 39 right now? It's not just the marketing stuff. I mean, that's going to be helpful. Again, we don't know. But maybe I'm investing in the stager, a handyman to come in and patch the, you know, who wants to come into the house and sees a hole in the drywall? Sorry, I'm off camera, right? Yeah, okay. I pointed to drywall. There's drywall there. There's a big hole. Pay $100, $200 to get that thing fixed and painted. Because in the mind of a buyer walking through, oh my God, that's like going to cost me thousands of dollars. Fix it, get it done, right? It's the collage of all these things you're going to do that increases. Oh, you took it off. It gets you out of the 39. Whatever the average is, gets you into your average. Here's the most important thing, though, of why my average was so high. Does anybody know why no, you don't. Why it was so high? The number two thing. Well, it's right there, the price. Am I in camera on that? Yeah. It's the list price. Hey, the list price. If I couldn't be in a value range of what I knew that thing was going to sell for, I wouldn't take it. Early in my career, I did. And if you're early in your career, I'm not disrespecting you if you do that. When you start getting a business where you're generating 3-4 referrals a week, opportunities, not sales, right? You're not going to have the time to babysit something that's overpriced. And then you're going to get this right there, frustration. Client gets frustrated, they make you frustrated. And all those good clients you're working with, the other 4 people that you have on the go, buyers and sellers, because this person here that you took the listing at for too much money, you're not going to ever sell it. It's like the sun is shining. I've been in the office all day. I hear the sun is shining today. Today's day, right? It's like this guy here, he comes in, he's the storm cloud. And he covers your sun. And what does that do? It affects the other 4 good ones you're working with. Okay? This takes skill, and it takes, when you're in a desperate mode financially, like if you need business, you're desperate financially, you'll make decisions. I know it, I get it. I'm not criticizing. You'll make decisions that long-term you may regret. Short-term, it's this, it feels this, it gives you hope, it tells you, okay, I can do this. I can make this happen. 30 days from now, 60 days from now, you're looking for the Prozac prescription, okay? Let's not do that. Any questions on this kind of stuff?
Yes,
Yeah.
one question I have is, when you're listing something, and you know how all those staging, those costs that you're talking about?
Yes.
Like, do you get that upfront from the seller, or do you just do it?
Good question.
What does it?
Good question. So this is part of how you got to develop your fee structure and your packaging. I would counsel against you investing a lot out of your pocket upfront. I would build that in the back end as a rebate or as a discount on your commission. If you say to yourself, look, we need to do all this to get your home to where we need to get it to show like a showpiece house. I'm going to hire, and usually the consult, it is a couple $100. You may want to cover a couple $100 consult from a stager, or if you really get into a good relationship with one, they're going to come and do that as a pro bono for you because you're giving them business, right? So they're going to say, no problem, Mike, I'll come over for 2 hours and we'll work it into the overall price, right? But you have somebody that comes in and does that, gives the assessment, and it's good that it's a third party doing that, not you. So it's somebody else kind of doing the criticism of the house, not you. You don't want to be that person, right? Look, if I walk in here and these carpets are from 1960s and they're bright orange, the shag orange, I'm not going to go, oh, these are great carpets. I'm not even going to talk about the carpets because they may love the carpets. And if I say they're horrible because they're from 1960s, Leave It to Beaver era, and now I'm in a conflict with them. Let somebody else that does this for a living be that person to communicate that, right? But so you'll build out your platform. You'll see my fee-based system. I've got it in 3 categories. And like I've only taken maybe 10, 15 for the premium and 8 or 9 for the deluxe, and then the economy is like 4 or 5. My real list had hundreds of things in there that I did for the premium package. It's the premium gas I'm putting into selling the house, okay? So any other questions about that? Yes.
I'm a professional stager,
Okay.
so, but I don't do, I just do the consultations and rent out the furniture, but is it a good thing to tell the sellers that I keep it as a third party? Like, should I get involved in that?
It's a great question too. We have realtors in here that do double duty as stagers, right? If you want to commingle listing and staging, be very careful about that. Make sure they're completely separate and siloed, right? Because if you commingle the 2 things together and you screw up on the staging side, it's going to affect your real estate side. And we're much more regulated, as you know,
Yeah.
than staging, right? I don't even know if the staging even regulated. They get designations,
Yes.
but there's no RICO for them, right? So if you do something here, staging, they're going to come at you on the RICO side, the real estate side. So be very careful about it. We have realtors that are mortgage people. They have mortgage licenses, right? They commingle. Again, be very careful about that. If you're doing financing on your own sales, I think that's a big conflict of interest, personally, right? Be like if I was divorcing my wife and we went to the same lawyer and the lawyer represented me and my wife. Well, that's a conflict of interest. How can you represent both of us? You can't, right? If you're doing lending, I don't think you can do lending for your own clients, okay? And if something went wrong, the world of hurt that would come down on you in that world, because you have OFSI and you have RICO. Like you might be seeing some bars in your future in the Crowbar Motel, they call it, right? Could be bad. Okay, so we got that. Any more questions? Anybody online? Any questions or we're good?
We're good.
Let's jump over to the page 1. That's the Commissioner Connor report. So you got that today, did you? Yeah, okay. Yeah, go up there.
Okay, so
Okay, so what are homeowners looking for? Oh, I gotta do this again.
Yep.
Negotiating skills. Remember I shared with you in one of our presentations that clients, when they are questioned in surveys in real estate, what's the top 5 things or top 10 things they're looking for in their realtor? Negotiation skills is always in the top 3, always in the top 3, never shifts out. It's usually 1, 2, quite frankly. So they're looking for negotiating skills. And in there, You've got negotiating skills that you got to think about. And we've already just talked about it. The price, it's the commission or your fee, right? Your fee, your price and your fee. How good are you at the negotiating table with them, right? Once you get past this, which is the first stuff, price, fee, remember? Just burn that in your brain. No matter what you're doing, price, fee, right? But there is a third thing that they're really looking for you in negotiation skills. What do you think that third thing is? Because actually, if you think about it, these are tests. They're testing you too. They may not know they're testing you, but they kind of are testing you. How quick is Mike to break and reducing his fee? And then one of the dialogues I'm going to finish today's session on is going to show you how you point that out. They may not have consciously known they're testing you, might have been unconscious. This dialogue I'm going to teach you will actually expose it to their conscious mind if it was unconscious, okay? But the third thing that they're looking for, actually, is once you get past this, it's the most important thing. How good are you at negotiating the offer? The offer. I can't tell you how poor our business is in negotiating offers. It's horrible. People are emailing offers. We're not talking to people anymore. We're not telling them about who our buyer is or who our seller is, right? To humanize the people. And I'm not, when I say telling about our buyers or seller, I'm talking about telling specific information that's private and confidential under your fiduciary obligation. I'm talking about, hey, Anita, my family's this young couple. They've been married for 4 years. They've got a 3-year-old and there's another one on the way. They're outgrowing their apartment and they just love your house. And they saw the pictures that the seller had of their family growing up. And my clients want to do the same thing. They want to raise their family in this beautiful house. Is that a good story that you're probably going to go tell your seller? You should tell your seller, by the way. It's part of your obligation. So I just gave you some information. A homeowner who's invested emotionally in their home for the last 20, 30 years and did raise a family, do they feel like they may want to work with me? Hey. But how many times do agents today just zip off an email and that's it? And it's like a tennis game or ping pong, back and forth. And there's no actual relationship with me and the other realtor. I want to develop a relationship with Anita so that I can humanize my client. Maybe she'll humanize her clients. Okay? Yeah, somebody had a question?
No, because even with like rentals and clients, same situation, like it's even if you don't want to call the realtor and say, this is my client, like they don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's such a
Right? Yeah.
it's such a shame that our industry has devolved, not evolved. We've devolved. You know what devolved means? We've gone backwards on the evolutionary process. It's
Because
horrible.
it's so easy to get license.
Yes.
If you want quality, you have to filter. You have
Yes.
to look for certain skills.
Exactly. Exactly.
And everybody can get the license in, I don't know,
And,
shortest time.
and isn't that, now you say that, to you, the light bulb should go on and go, oh my God, what a great opportunity for me to fill that big void that exists in real estate, to be the true professional. That's what we're all about, Signature, opening your eyes and giving you the ideas to be able to, how come that's that coming up? To be able to think those thoughts. Again, I told you in the very first session, you have 60,000 thoughts a day. I'm giving you a whole bunch every time you see me. It's what you do with it. What are you going to, when you walk out of here, are you going to do anything with it? Or in an hour, it'll all be gone, right? Disappears. That's why it's always important to write stuff down too. Writing it down gives you a higher chance of remembering it because you'll refer back to it at a later date, right? Or go back and watch the recording. That's pretty cool technology. Next question is strategy. So the strategy is traditional, or I'll call it aggressive. That's on a listing. The traditional listing is the value of the home is $900,000, and I'm going to list it for $929,000. Give myself some negotiating, right? That's your traditional strategy of listing. Would we agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. The aggressive style would be it's worth $900,000, and we list it for 20%, 15%, 10% below. There's been times where people have gone and done it 30% below, right? So my $900,000 house, if I go, 10% below that, that's 90,000. So let's just, for argument's sake, we go 799. That's an aggressive style. And typically with an aggressive style, we're marrying that with the delayed offer process. Everybody knows the delayed offer process, right? If you're not familiar with it, make sure you look up this AREA form. It's very important for you to have this form signed to do that. That's your written direction to be able to delay an offer. Because under our act, we're required to convey, this is the word, it's not present, the word is convey in the act. I'm probably only one of a very few people in the real estate sector that's actually read the whole act multiple times. I'm a geek that way, but I like the rules. Because if I have to fight for you guys or for our clients, I want to know what the real rules are, not what somebody third party said. Somebody said something to Matt, to Liam, Sonia, Anita, your name?
Guy.
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 Guy. By the time Guy tells me, that game, doesn't the story change? I don't like when the story gets changed, so I don't rely upon 100% what people tell me. They'll tell me something and I'll go fact check it, double check it. So we have to convey offers. Convey offers in what time period? Does anybody know what it says in the act?
20 minutes.
No. There's not specific time, but they give you a time. At the earliest practical opportunity. Remember those words, those are important words. You need to convey the offer at the earliest practical opportunity. Subject to legislation or subject to extenuating circumstances. So that's why sometimes you'll see we need 24 hours. What's the word? So they'll put that in there to give themselves the out because they can't do it at the earliest practical opportunity. So when you go and do a delayed offer, you need to get this form signed, which gives you the direction to postpone the offer so that you don't have to do it at the earliest practical opportunity. And in this document, very important, you're going to have the date. It's the first thing that we're going to convey the offers on May 31st at 6 p.m. Okay. There's below that in that document, these other sections, and you'll probably have seen this on the listings. Seller reserves the right to review preemptive offers. Have you seen this on listings?
Yes.
Seller reserves the right to review preemptive offers. Here's the big problem. Most people that list houses think that that gives them an out, that they don't have to now adhere to the date of the postponed offer. They can go run out and negotiate this offer because it's preemptive. Preemptive is like the fancy word for bully, the bully offer, right? So let's say I've listed it 2 days ago and I'm delayed offers next week on Tuesday. Tonight's Friday. I get a bully or a preemptive offer. I go run out and I sell it because my seller absolutely loved it. I loved it. My $900,000 property that's the value. I've listed $799. This guy's brought me $950. Giddy up. Let's go. Let's get this thing done. Is that okay to do that? Because you've had the seller reserves the right to review preemptive offers. Are you allowed to go do that?
Because review versus accept, is that a problem?
So it is a problem. You have to do 3 big things before you can look at that. The first thing is you have to look at the offer. Is it compelling enough? Write this word down. Is it compelling enough for you and your seller to change the strategy that you've adopted to market the house? So I'm at $799, the value in figures $900, and the offer comes in for $799. But remember, we're worth $900, right? That's not compelling, right? Comes in at $830. Is that compelling? No. $900 is compelling. $905, $910, $950 is compelling. Okay, great. So we've checked off. This is worth looking at. Oh, by the way, it's firm. There's no like condition on sale of property, blah, 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 right? It's a firm offer, $950. Step number 2, you have to go onto the MLS, whether it's TREB or ITSO, And you have to remove the sentence that says offers to be presented or conveyed on, May 31st. That's got to come out. And step 3, you have to contact in writing. Now, fortunately, Broker Bay is an amazing tool for us, right, Matt? Now you have to contact in writing through Broker Bay every realtor that showed the property, that is booked to see the property, or any realtor or consumer that is called expressing interest in the property. They all have to be notified that you're changing this. Failure to do so. This is the most common RICO complaint, by the way, by far. Does anybody want to wager a guess what the range of fines on this one are? Yeah. About 5. So don't do it.
Is
We
that,
know, right?
is that with I had a situation like this where there was a rental and the rental became, I wasn't sure the property, but he's selling it now. And the realtor messaged everybody who went to see the property.
Perfect.
So it's not even the same situation.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
only changes.
You got it.
Okay.
It is such a common, I'm getting them like every 2 weeks now in the brokerage. That's how common it's getting. Yeah, and it is now, it's almost like a guaranteed $5,000 fine. There's a couple of times maybe, but 5,000 is where you're going with it. And it's more if you've sold it yourself. If you've sold it yourself, now they look at that as being a motivation that you're trying to, double end the transaction, make more money for, right? So that has a very, the negative optic to it, right? When you, think of it, Mike's listed it and the Mike sells it, doesn't do all this stuff, and he's both sides. Yeah, it looks a little bit murky. So that's that one.
So I have a question.
Sure.
When it's a preview and preemptive offer, like these 3 points, in what cases would the offer be compelling enough? In the sense if you didn't have it's a firm offer.
Sure.
And it has very less time or irrevocable.
Yeah, all those variables that you're talking about.
If it has enough time, then we can continue with the regular.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not compelling enough, you don't have to do anything. Because you're not even looking at it. But if you're going to look at it and work with it and accept it or do something, you have to do all those steps before you do that. You have to give that opportunity. The next one there is network of suppliers, getting a house ready with the easy button. So it's basically assembling your team that you want to have. So on your team, I'd write these down along in the column, would be a lawyer, your building inspector. But by the way, it's good to have 3 of these handy. Otherwise, they look at it possibly as what's called steering. You're steering somebody to one provider. A stager, a painter, a handy person or a renovator, a lender. And here's a really cool one that I've heard a couple of realtors using. A hotel manager or Airbnb options.
Property manager.
That's different. So property manager to manage the property, like for rentals? Yeah. No, I'm talking about, say this is going to be a hot listing and we're going to get 50 people coming through the house this weekend. You know what? Here's an Airbnb for you. They're my friends, or here's a hotel. Go there and I'll rebate you back the cost. You keep all your receipts, you keep your hotel receipts, your meals, and that'll be part of that'll be my thank you for using and it'll get you out of the house.
So that's an amazing incentive.
We have agents in the office. I never did that. I wasn't thinking, we didn't have Airbnbs when I was selling, right? But isn't that a cool idea, right? Build it though into your fee model. You're not going to pay for that because if it doesn't sell, then you've given them a great weekend. But when it does sell, because you've done everything else right, you gave them a free weekend. And they didn't have the headache of having to have 50 people coming through. I think it's brilliant. That's why I added it to my list, because a couple of our agents are telling me about it.
Do we have any for new agents, who, do you guys have stagers and all this team? Do we have some recommendations from the brokerage?
I don't believe we do, just because it's we start to then advocate for some, and if there is something that happens there's a conflict. Now we're part of the conflict, right? On a personal basis, if you ever come and ask me, I can refer you to people that I've used in my career. I'll give you a shout out right now. I'm having my backyard all landscaped and my front driveway re-landscaped, repaved with concrete. These guys, it was a door knocking thing. This guy knocked our door last year. We weren't in the position of doing it. He works the neighborhood. We saw his little signs everywhere. We have neighbors that have used them. So, you know, there was this level of comfort already in his work. We saw some of his work. We were happy with that. And we hired him about 3 weeks ago. So we started May 1st, actually. So that's about 3 weeks ago, right? And he said, we'll be there at 7 a.m. To start the, you know, the prep work and all this stuff. They were there at 6:45. 4 big dump trucks, bulldozers, excavators, 10 guys, and I've never seen people work harder in my life. The work that these guys did, outstanding. And the service after, outstanding. Remember, I talked to you in the first session about we're really good when we did the assessment of ourselves, we're really good when we're working with somebody. And then the after relationship. Well, this guy kept in touch with me when he knocked my door last year. So that part was amazing. And, you know, most of the work is done. So now it's aftercare service. And the guy pops over every couple of days, to check in, right? Yeah.
Just a quick question along the line. How long do you have to wait after the MLS has been changed and written notification given to accept the preemptive offer?
So there is nothing in the act, that's a great question, by the way, that says you got to be 1 hour or 30 minutes, 2 hours. There's nothing like that in the act. I said 30 minutes. I would say to you, that would be a minimum that you'd want to have as a standard that you'd want to get out there. Again, you're trying to work in the best interest of your seller, and you're going to probably have a realtor that's given that cap on the irrevocable. So you're going to want to kind of play with that. If they're giving you 11:59 p.m. as their irrevocable, then sure, you can give an hour or 2 hours if it's like 6 o'clock at night. But 6 o'clock at night and it's irrevocable at 7, right? You're not gonna lose this offer because your seller wants it. You think it's a great offer, so you're not gonna run the clock out because you want people to, you know, get in there, right? So you're going to do whatever you need to do at that time. If I was in the buying side, I would put a little bit of the pressure on the time. I don't want anybody else in, right? I want this thing sewed up for my buyer. So I'm not going to put 11:59 p.m., which is your default, by the way, right? I would go in and tighten it as short as I can, right? Put the pressure on them in a polite way, right? They understand. Next one, Matt, if you could go with the slides, the commissionectomy slide.
Yes, I can.
This is, I created this, probably about 2009. And you're going to see why, because the average sale price back then was $400,000. It's a little bit higher today, right?
Starting with the pie diagram, right?
Yeah. Okay. You've all seen this little pie diagram, probably. If you've not, you know, welcome to the commission pie chart diagram.
This has not been sent to anyone because it's your old PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't given it to anyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This should be a version of this in the product that we produce in our design center for you for listings. So just as a reminder that if you have a listing presentation, the address and the sellers, you can give it to our design, and for free, they'll print you the listing package from the office, right? It's free. Yeah, so we have, do you have an example one here by chance?
I do not.
Okay, so, you know, it's branded in our kind of, yeah, now we'll grab one. So we have a buyer version of that, and we have a seller listing presentation version. And so as long as you, on the buyer side, come in with the buyer's name for free, the staff will print one out for you, and there you go. It'll be customized with the name of the buyer. On the listing side, you know, 123 ABC Street, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they'll put that on the front cover, and they'll pop out this document for you. And it's quite a, yeah, Matt's bringing one in. And it's, I'll just say it again, it's free.
Just don't show the front page because it's someone's. So just skip to like the middle there.
Is it an actual one?
Yeah, it's for Rosa. Yeah.
Oh, so Rosa. Rosa does a lot of cottage properties out in Prince Edward County, which is out by picked in the Kingston area, right? So I think that's probably one she's got. Yes, it is. She sent that to my wife, Rosa, my wife are good friends. And because Rosa has a cottage on this little island, Prince Edward Island, Prince Edward County Island. And this property's 2 doors down from Rosa's. And so she sent my wife this email last night, hey, we could be neighbors. So I haven't called Rosa back yet. And said, but anyways, this is a presentation that you get for free.
One per client, if you allow them to brand it with your client's name or address, for free.
So this is different.
Which one's that, Matt? The
It's
uniform
the selling experience.
That one there.
That's just a difference. And
Yeah, you want that one. You want to go to our design center and ask for the listing presentation package. Now, if I was selling again, I'd be using that piece as collateral for sure. It's free, it's great, but I'd have my own creative as well. Okay, so I'd create my own kind of thing. Here, what we're going to talk about though is this, just a kind of a look in. I call it the commission-ectomy, right? So it's a surgical look at what happens when we do commission cutting and things. But this little chart actually, I believe that's in this version of the chart is in that package that I showed you.
so
But typically, talk in simple terms, half of the fee goes to the co-oping broker, right? So if you're at 5%, 2.5% goes to co-op, and then the rest, this is how it's allocated. Now, some of us is going to be different, the size, right? So we have business expenses. What's some typical business expenses that you have?
Like sign, photography, and some marketing, like print marketing.
Your license, your insurance, your car, your gas, like this thing. I think we gave in course 1 foundation, then we give them my budgeting stuff. Okay, so you guys got my budget that I used to use in my career, the budget, all these, the professional, personal, and marketing expenses. You should have all that stuff there. But that's what those are. This is taxes. Sadly, in our country, we pay probably a little bit too much. That's all I'll say about that. But you have to pay them. And then there's what's called the realtor net. That's what you're left with. So this is kind of just a high level look down. It's a 5% fee, how that would look. So if we can go to the next slide, we're going to look at what it looks like a healthy business. Oh, we got a question. Yeah.
So that's the buyer side. So the fee that we pay to our brokerage.
Yeah, it's all part of your business expenses. Your brokerage fee would be in there too, right? Again, that's why I said, like, you could have, if you really want to make it look like we take all your commission, you'd make ours out to here and say, yeah, my Royal LePage company takes all that money from me.
But
You can blame us.
actually it works.
You guys are
When
on
I say that, people really feel for me, oh, so you have to pay.
Oh, yeah.
Because they don't know, they think we
Oh, yeah.
don't keep all the money.
Yeah, well, you're on 90-10, but my brokerage takes all that extra money. We're happy for you to describe it however you want. Whatever you like. Okay, go to the next one. Okay. Actually, you know what I used to do? I used to bring coins with me to describe this. So I'd have that pie chart and I would have, when it was 6% fees, I would have 6 loonies with me, okay? And so I would use, and this was taught by Floyd Whitman, say these were loonies, right? These are 6 loonies. And so I would go, am I on camera? No, I'm not on camera, sorry.
I can move you.
No, I'll come over. All right, so can you see, I've got a water bottle and 3 pens, but these are loonies. So at 6%, I'd be talking about this. This is how this works with the commission pie chart. So 3 of these loonies actually goes to whoever sells the property. That could be somebody from Central 21, Cool Banker, Remax. We don't know who that person is, but they're getting 3 of the loonies. So there's 3 loonies left over. I got to give my broker one, I got to give the government one, and this is mine. You want to take mine away from me? I don't think so. That's how I do it, just like that. That was a dialogue. That was exactly how I performed that, jokingly. 3 like this. 1 goes to who? My brokerage. 1 goes to. You pay taxes?
Taxes, yeah.
And this is mine, and you want to take mine away from me? Come on, I don't think so. You figure out, depending on how these people are and how the relationship is with them, you want to take my 1%? I can't do that. Right? That's how you, and now if it's at 5%, you bring 4 loonies and 2 quarters, right? So you got 2 loonies here, 2 quarters, 2 loonies and 2 quarters. So you're giving that to what? One of my loonies goes to who? One of my loonies goes to taxes. You want to take my 50 cents? Right? That's how you visually can do that. And I actually used to do that. Not all the time. I'd gauge the person. Okay, so go to the commission act. We're gonna look at a healthy business first. Oh, the whys, yeah. Well, actually, the whys is important to remember. We talked about the whys in the first class. Because if your whys are not strong enough to defeat their whys of why you should cut your commission, then you got to get your whys being more important to who you are, right? Because your whys have to take precedent to get yourself the fee you want. Okay, so this is a healthy business. As I said, it's a long time ago. It's $400,000 for the average commission. And so we said we're going to do 10 transactions that year, and I better put those down. I know I will write on that screen. So 10 transactions at 400,000, a 2.5% commission gives you a GCI, gross commission income. Everybody know that term? GCI, gross commission income of $100,000. That's the total commission, gross. Okay. In there, we're going to deduct 35%. So you're carrying 35% in expenses. Maybe you're 20%. I don't know. Maybe you're 15%. It's all up to you how you want to figure that out. I'm just using a generic model for this. So we got 35,000 in expenses, brings us down to $65,000. We're going to impute a 32% income tax on that, which is $20,800. We're left with a net income of a gross income of $44,200 in this month, right? You could probably make it that you're making 55,000, 60,000 net. It's all up to you how you figure that math out. But everybody followed that, how simple that was, right? And that would be what I'd call a healthy business. That's a 5%. That's 2.5 to you. It's and 2.5 to the other side, right? So imagine that the co-op agent's always getting 2.5. Co-op's always getting 2.5, okay? So no questions on that, right? Simple math. Yeah.
I don't get it because you do have people that are giving 1%. So
Yeah.
how do they function? Okay.
We're gonna find out.
1% to the
So this is now called a vulnerable business. So what first was a 5%, 2.5 to co-op, 2.5 to you. This is vulnerable. This is a total of 4.5%, 2 to you and 2.5 to co-op, okay? Same model, 10 transactions at $400,000, but now we're at 2%. Your gross commission income is $80,000. We're using the same business expenses, 35%. That's $28,000. We're coming down to 52. I have to take that. 16,640 in income taxes. Our net income is now 35,000. Just go back to the other slide for a sec there, Matt. We went from 44 and change to, go back down, 35,360. $9,000 drop. Just right there. But here's the real math. Here's the real reality, the reality check on this. Most realtors will tell you, well, Mike, I cut my commission here. All I need to do is one more deal and I'll make that up. But think about it. In this model here, it's 3 more deals. It's not 1 more deal. And why is that? If you were to divide it, go back to the other slide. If you're to divide that net income by 10, it's $4,400. So let's say $4,000. That's your net income on the transaction that you're making. Okay. Go back to the next slide. Back down. You're taking a $9,000 loss. You're needing almost 3 more deals to actually make up for your $9,000 loss. Do you understand how that math works? It's not you're making $9,000 on your next sale. So you have to actually look at it from the holistic perspective. You have to do almost 3 more transactions to bridge the net profit number. Okay, we got that? So it's not 1 more deal. And we need to start training ourselves mentally to realize that. Because when I say to you that you have to do almost 3 more deals when you cut once, it's a lot worse than letting one go. I'll just do 1 more, right? It's easy. We justify it that way. It's 1 more deal, no problem. No, it's 3. Let's go to the next business, next model. This is what I call a terminal business. Okay. And this is only at 4%. 1.5 to 2.5. Same math. 60,000 instead of 180,000. It's now 60,000 is the gross commission income. Same business expenses, 35%. That's $21,000. You're left with 39 grand. You got to pay taxes on that. It's 12,000. So your net income now is $26,000 in this terminal model. You went from 44,200 net. You went to 30, what was it, 33-ish? Now down to 26. Again, we have this kind of mind condition. We say to ourselves, I just need to do 1 more deal. I'll make it happen. But again, let's go back to the math of it. It's a $17,000 profit loss in this model. If this is what you're running from the healthy business. Your net was 44, your net's 26, $17,000. What is it going to take to get you to bridge that loss? Not 1 deal, 7 more deals in that model to get you back to the level playing field. Everybody understand that? You might have to go home and kind of play with the numbers. It'll be an aha moment if you're struggling with it, because it took me a while when I designed this to think about it in those terms. Because I used to think about it, I'll just do 1 more deal. I'll pick it up at 1 more deal. And then I started looking at it from this perspective. So I had a conversation with my accountant at the time, who is still my accountant, and he specializes in real estate. Like, that's his business practice. Actually, I refer Stan to him, right? He shared this kind of thought with me, and then I went to work and created this kind of little thought teaser that was like in my face, like a sledgehammer, to go, wow, I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my career. So it was pretty cool. Oh, is there 1 more slide here? No. Okay, that's good. You can pop out. And now we're going to go show my investment in your home, and you can all laugh as much as you want here on this one. And it is very hot in this room, is it not?
A little.
Yeah. This is from 1998, this little slide. See, little baby face.
A handsome guy.
Right, little baby face. So this is part of my listing package. And you guys got a copy of this, I think, sent today maybe, or last week?
This morning.
Okay, just go up a little bit. So I was dealing with a lot of people that are, hourly wage people, or people that were salaried. Very few commission-based people that I work with, and I'm sure the same is with you. Most people work a traditional job. And so I always used to want to try to talk in their terms about how it looks like for me as a realtor. So this was, because, if you're working an hourly wage, I go and punch a clock, it's 8 hours and I'm getting paid $20 an hour to do that job. Okay, well, I'm doing work too, right? Yes, there's a fee here, but it's performance-based. If I do not sell your house, all of that work I've done, I don't get paid for that. And some people don't understand that. When you share that with them as the client, they're like, oh, I did not know that. So you want to share with those types of clients, and this is from 1998, so these numbers can change, obviously. I used, can I write on this one?
You should be able, yeah, you can. You should be able to. You just need your pen. Get your pen.
Oh, right there. So I used, it was $60 per hour was my rate back then. I'm a professional, right? Why wouldn't I be worth $60? 20-something years ago. How many years ago? 24, 26 years ago. Wow.
How much would you do now? 120?
Probably 120 to 150, I would say. Yeah. Yeah. Well, my first visit took 2 hours. I didn't get paid for that, but that's what I'm worth. And so that's what I would have invoiced you. If you went and visited your lawyer back then would have charged you 150 an hour. He would charge you $300, right? Would you agree with that? Yeah, good.
Plus mileage.
Pardon me?
Plus mileage.
Plus mileage. I did an opinion of value. That's your CMA. That took me 2 hours. That was $120 of my time. Listing appointment was 3 hours. Lockbox took me an hour to get that and sign arranged. You just go down the list of all these types of things. You can make up as many things as you want, legitimate things. And you can come up with this is what I've got financially at stake here already in your transaction. And I haven't sold it yet. And I might not sell it, but I've invested already financially, real money, because it's time is money. Because you go to work, you punch a clock, and you get paid for that time. I just don't have a clock to punch to get paid. It's performance-based. So I'm here not to play games and just list your property, because anybody can just list your property. I'm here to sell your property. Does that make sense? Right? It's all dialogues. Have fun with that one. And like I said, I was a little baby, 28 years old. What's my next slide here, Matt? I think we'll go back to the regular section. Well, you saw at the bottom, I had disclaimers too, right?
Right.
If you go back to it again, I had a disclaimer that was based upon like an $85,000 income based on a 16-week listing period. All estimates are timed. So they were my disclaimers to that. Because if you're going to put something like that out, you got to qualify and disclaim. Okay. Back here. Yes, please. Yeah. Okay. Listing step by step. What do we got for that? I would say for this one here, we're going to breeze through a couple things. I want to make sure are all decision makers going to be at the property? Are all decision makers going to be at the property for my listing presentation? Because if they're not, when would they be needed? Would they be available tomorrow at 6 o'clock instead of tonight at 7? They would. Okay, great. Let's pencil you in for tomorrow at 7 and see you and your husband tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Because you do not want to be playing that phone tag game that we talked about. Like, I don't want to tell you, Anita, something, and then when your husband comes home, you try to tell your husband what I told you, and you're not going to tell him exactly what I said. In fact, you might even get it completely wrong. That's why you want all decision makers in the room. There might be more than just like the husband and wife decision makers. There might be parents that are involved that are on title that gave money or something. Like, so, you want to look behind. Like, what's the behind the message story there? So if mom and dad have to be part of this, can we zoom mom and dad in that are in Scarborough and we're here in Mississauga? Great, let's do that. Because they should be part of the conversation. Again, I don't want Anita and her husband to tell mom and dad what I said because they might get it wrong. I want them all together. Makes sense, right? Yeah.
So I had a listing presentation 2 years ago, and I asked the same question, and the lady said, yes, my husband and I both would be there. So when I went there, the husband was not there. And then the lady insisted to show me the house, present your, presentation, everything. I left like that.
So you chose to.
Yes, because, I sensed
Good for you.
she was using me.
Good for you. Yeah.
And next thing within 2 weeks, the sign was on the lawn.
With somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah. So they were using you just
for
to
an opinion.
an opinion. They'd already selected somebody.
Yes.
Good for you for doing that, right?
Yeah,
It takes a
no doubt.
strong constitution to do that, right? And I in the same position would probably do the exact same thing. Well, listen, Anita, we said that, you and your husband would be
Yes.
here, and this is the kind of presentation that I can't do just with one person. It's, you both need to be present. When would be a good time to rebook that, right? You chose just to walk and not rebook. And it obviously would turn out the
No, I
way that
tried to rebook, but she didn't
want to.
respond.
Hmm. She'd already made her mind up, right? Okay. Number 2, research. Research. You scroll up just a little bit there, Matt?
Oh, down to the next page.
No, right there. Or you can't scroll that up, I guess. Okay. So right there, the research, this is the determining the pulse of the market. So you're basically, the doctor, you're putting your finger on the pulse. Is this market alive right now? Or is this market, in a cardiac arrest right now? Probably a little bit of cardiac arrest. Closer to cardiac arrest and, good. Well, we're going to change. I think we're going to see the Bank of Canada make a move in June. They've had 4 months of good data. Please, goodness gracious, do this for us. We need this. This country needs this to happen in a big way. These interest rates are killing so many families.
So many
It's
businesses.
unbelievable. Yeah, and if they If they don't act sooner than later, you know, they say, are you underwater? You know, that's kind of one of the, now, are you under what people are on the bottom of, they're not, I think they're on the bottom now. Like they're jumping up and they're back underwater. Because it's crazy, maxing this out, getting this, trying to consolidate stuff. It's madness. And we need to get some certainty back into all sectors of the economy. And ours in particular, like we're hemorrhaging transactions left, right, and center. Right? We don't have the supply for the demand, but the demand's not there because they've killed us with the interest rates. So if you can scroll to the next, oh, actually, no, wait, it says MPAC reports. I'll make one comment about this MPAC reports. See that there? MPAC is notoriously inaccurate. If you're going to use MPAC data, particularly for the square footage, right? So MPAC, sometimes you'll see, or a lot of times you'll see, you know, the property home is 2,000 square feet, okay? If you're going to use that MPAC number as marketing for your listing and you're gonna put that out there, you need to qualify that that is from MPAC. 2,000 square foot as per MPAC. As I said, notoriously inaccurate in MPAC. 1/3 are correct, 1/3 are incorrect, and one are too much. So I'll do it. It's in thirds actually. 1/3, 1/3, too high, correct, too low. So not very good data to rely upon. Horrible data. In fact, I would caution you to even use it as 2,000 square feet as per MPAC. I caution you not even to do that. And here's the reason why. MPAC does not go out and measure your house. So if you're a homeowner, like myself, did you have a knock on your door at any time from MPAC to measure your house? No. MPAC pulls its data from MLS listings, from builder sheets, from the neighbor's house that looks like the same house. They don't go and look and measure the house. So if you're going to use that data, be very, very careful about it. In fact, if I was you, I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Okay. Use a company, some companies that do your virtual tours, like these Matterport type of virtual tours, they offer measurements as well as part of the packages. Or there's direct companies that specialize, like in engineering companies. So when I did my renovation of my house 2 years ago, before I started with the reno, with all the contractors, I brought this, it's called Planet. Planet was the name of the company. I think they're out of Oakville. Planet. They're an engineering firm, and they came over and, like as engineers would, they measured things, and they measured my whole house, and they gave me a floor plan for my basement, my main floor, my second floor. And that was used in the renovation process to get building permits. So we went complete open concept. My wife decided to do what they do in these HGTV 1-hour shows. I can tell you it takes more than 1 hour to go from start to finish. Because we're just finishing the backyard and the front yard as we speak, as I told you before, the landscaping part. But these guys here helped by putting an actual square footage. And what was really cool, my house actually is bigger than what it was advertised as being when I bought it. I was happy about that, right? I was happy about that. But do not use MPAC as a reliable source. Next page, Matt. Start timing here. I'm gonna have to keep it up.
Half an hour word again.
Where can we go here? Pre-listing drop-off. What I'm going to say, that's Pulse of the Market stuff, the box right here. So what I used to make up was tape measures. I was old school. I used to like to measure the house with a tape measure for the rooms. Some people have like the laser stuff. I had one, but I never used it. But I used to brand a tape measure, like go to Costco or Home Depot and buy a whole bunch. And today you can do it so much easier. 20 years ago, you had, it was a whole process to get these stickers put on and stuff. Now it's like easy peasy, but it was branded Mike Henley. And it was a tape measure that I'd leave with them. There you go. They'd always have that. Like who doesn't throw tape measure. You keep a tape measure, right? So that was one of my kind of leave behinds. And I also left behind sometimes flowers. This is a thank you, right? For the presentation and all that kind of stuff. Step 4, can you go step 4? That's the Canvas stuff. That's the stuff that they give you, that we showed you. All you need to do is show up there with the name of the seller and whatnot. We did the strategy stuff. You can scroll through that. We did the pricing, we did the preemptive. I've told you all about that, so we're good there. You go to my fee model plan document. We covered all the stuff off in what I was doing. The fee model one. Yeah.
From your old presentation?
Correct.
Gotcha. 2 seconds. Russ talked about that one.
That was, yeah, that was the one. It's on the, I think it's on the objection presentation. Yeah.
Model plan.
So we forward that presentation also.
Got it.
yes?
Can you get a copy of the fee model for them or like a screenshot? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 seconds.
Or you can take pictures of it if you want here too. So this was actually another look inside of my business. And I created this in about the same time, 98, with that other slide stuff, right? Because my business was coming from the minor sport community up in Brandon. I was coaching hockey, I was sponsoring hockey, I was coaching baseball, sponsoring baseball. My whole network was being developed there. And what I realized early on is that, people do talk with each other in the hockey arenas or in the baseball diamonds. So if you have, karaoke kind of networks or whatever other networks, chances are people are going to talk about what Sonia's doing, what Mike's doing, right? And so the kiss of death for your business is going to be giving different deals, call it, to different people. And when those two people are talking and they find out that, Mike gave Sonia, 6% deal, but he gave Anita 5%, well, Sonia's going to be pretty ticked off with Mike Kennelly. Why did you rip me off for 1%? Would you agree with that? You think that's happening today in your business, possibly? Okay. So I created this to protect myself from those conversations that I would not be a part of, because I didn't live in the hockey arena or the baseball diamond. So these were going to be natural, organic conversations that I wasn't a party to. So I go, here's my 3 plans, and I called them deluxe. That's the top end plan. Oh, right there. So deluxe, premium, and economy. Then I talk about deluxe single agency, premium single agency, economy single agency. That's like double end, okay? If I was to represent both sides, that's the kind of fancy term I came up with 26 years ago for that. And so in the deluxe plan, now remember, there's like 100, 200 things that are in here. I'm just giving you a very brief kind of snapshot of some of the things you can add in your columns of the services that you're going to do. Because you're building a value-based service fee plan choice model for people. Everyone understand that? So that you have to actually come up with real things and execute on those real things for them to pick which plan they want to pick, right? So you obviously want to go on the economy, fewer things, because those are costing things, like money, things that are going to cost you money. So this way here, when you're doing your actual fee negotiation, it becomes a choice conversation with people. And you're building up all that conversation. We talked about all these things about why it's important to be full service and to not discount. Yes, I'm not a discount realtor. This is my economy plan. The likelihood of selling here is very high, but it's not as high as this plan, and definitely not as high as that plan. And we've all agreed today at the table, at listening, that you want to sell your house. You're not just testing the market. You're not just seeing what will happen. Like you have to move. you know, you got promoted, you're moving to Calgary, you need to, right? You have a child on the way, you need a bigger house, you need the extra bedroom. You know, you're 85 years old and you're getting up and down the stairs is hard. You need to sell your house. Like, so we have something that has to sell, not testing it out. And you're building out the value of what you're doing to get yourself the higher fee. Does that make sense? Again, whether you guys try this in your business, adopt this in your business, it's up to you. If you're going to do this, put a lot of effort and time in designing what yours looks like. Okay? What are you willing to do in the deluxe plan? Are you willing to cover some of the staging? Are you willing to cover some of the painting? Again, I caution you, that comes out at the back side. Doesn't come at the front side. You do not put your money on the table and paint somebody's entire house for them. Because when they say, we've changed our mind, well, I didn't get my job in Calgary, we're staying put. And thank you for the paint job. Really appreciate it. You laugh, but I know realtors that this has happened to them. And they've come and talked to me and I've warned them about this. Oh, Mike, but they're not that kind of people. Okay, maybe they're not, but I've seen some people do some pretty weird things when money's, you know, part of this. This is a 3,000 square foot, you're paying the whole thing, $10,000, and you're gonna come asking for $10,000 after they change their mind. Well, some people will pay you, I agree, and some won't. We've had a few experiences recently where they got a free paint job because there was nothing in writing to protect our agent, even though I told them you should put something in writing. That's a separate agreement. Oh, they're not like that. Good, no problem. We have to learn sometimes by mistake, okay? I'll caution you against this one here. Here's a real good strategy sellers like to do with you guys when you're listing. I'm sure this has happened to a few of you. Okay, Mike, but you know what? Just charge me, let's do the discount here. Do it for 3 or do it for, you know, 3.5. I know you got the fee is 2.5 to the co-op to attract them to come in. I mean, that's negotiable too. That's not hard and fast. You don't have to offer 2.5, but this is going to draw the buyer's agents in. So I know you're saying, Mike, you want to charge 5%, but just let's do the discount here. And when I buy from you, you can rebate from the purchase. How many agents fall for that trap? Have you fallen for that trap? Have you done that? But it hasn't been a trap yet. Because what happens when they change their mind and they don't buy? They go and rent. Or they go move in with mom and dad. Or mom and dad go move in with their kids. That happens. The problem is, you did this for a 2.5% purchase. Let's say P. I know a lot of you have done it. I did it. Learn from my mistake. Never again. Well, I appreciate that, Anita, that you would like to do that. But look at all the financial resources and horsepowers here on selling your house. When you buy the property that we're talking about you buying, I'll rebate you off of that, or I'll give you a discount, or I'll give you a welcome gift. We'll deal with it at that time. Never, ever, ever fall for the trap from a seller that says, you're going to get the full commission on the buying side. Because then you're chasing them for it when they will do a rental. And that's never polite, and not the polite. It's never a happy experience to do that. Because they're going to go tell all their friends, oh, that jerk Mike keeps calling me to get paid, you know, because I only rented from him. I didn't buy from him. And he wants $10,000, he wants $15,000. Don't worry, don't do it there. Do it at the back end. Make sense? Where are we now, Matt? We're let's go to seller questionnaire. My God, we're talking a lot of stuff today. Okay.
So the marketing strategy schedule
This would be a seller questionnaire on the main.
on the main presentation.
Yeah.
Got it. 1 second.
Yep. Okay, so this is a generic seller questionnaire. I'm not gonna write stuff down, I'll just go through it. So number one says, tell me about your home. You wanna write these things down, so we'll go fast here. Tell me about your home. It's a detached 4-bedroom, it's a ravine lot. That's what your seller's telling you. So you're doing a little bit of detective work on the phone before your listing presentation, right?
Can I find that? What is it?
You guys don't have it?
Yeah, it's on page,
This was in module 3,
Okay.
page,
Okay.
Like 3 or 4 pages.
yeah.
So tell me about your home. So this is where they're gonna tell you about their home. They're gonna say, oh, it's a detached 4-bedroom on a ravine lot. Perfect. How long have you lived there? I've lived there for 1 to 2 years. I've lived there for 2 to 5 years. I've lived there for 10 or 15, 20 years. Here's what I want to warn you about. If they've said 1 to 2 years, or even 1 to 3 years, you may have problems with equity issues in the property. Everybody understand what I'm saying when I say equity issues? They may have paid more for the property than what's worth today, and there may not be any equity to pay your fee and the cooperating broker's fee, which we're responsible for paying. Because when we list it on MLS, that is a contract from us to other brokerages that will pay 2.5% or 2% or 3% for them selling the property. So we become part of the problem. So it should always be a red flag for you if they've, especially in this market where the markets have gone down, that you want to verify their mortgage. It's called mortgage verification. Now, every one of us pretty much can go online very quickly and do that. When I sold real estate, we had a form, I had to sign it, I had to go to the bank. Bank would then provide to me a mortgage statement, then I would have that. You guys complain about, oh, how hard this is, so difficult. You guys got DocuSign, Broker Bay, you got, I had to go drive for a signature across the town. Oh, you guys are lucky. Lucky. I think I'm gonna go back selling that. You think I should just give up managing? No?
How do we verify their mortgage?
Pardon me?
How do we verify their mortgage?
It's called a mortgage verification. So most of us today can do that online.
Geo warehouse.
Oh,
You need a Geo warehouse, right? As
no,
well.
we can't do geo warehouse.
Geo
We have
should
to
have-
pay then? Do we have to pay?
Yeah, you also have to pay for the parcel register
Yeah.
document.
That's the big. But now with the new realm, we saw it a couple weeks ago. I think they had it on Signature Live. I actually watched that one. The new Realm Trev platform has the draw in from Geo, so you automatically are in their system. And if you want to be the pay for the one services or reports, you can do that right from Realm, which is so cool. Okay, so number 3, why do you want to move? What's the reason? Is it retirement, is it job relocation, family growth, divorce, job loss? But what's the reason? Because when you go in to do the presentation, you're going to shape your conversation based upon what they're going to tell you.
This may be the motivation, correct?
Correct. That goes to motivation. When do you need to move by? This gives the urgency as far as what that is. They need to be out 120 days because I start my new job in Calgary in 120 days. So you got to get them out of there in 120 days. And then this is where I would use. Let's see if my form's there. Where's the one? The plan. Oh, no, that's in the next section. I'll give it. I break down like, here's what I'm going to do for you. I've only given you like the 10-day version of it, but there's like a 20, 30, 60-day version of the things that I do for you. Like day 1 of this one, and your lockbox, stuff like that. Number 5, what improvements have you made to your house? So I've done kitchen and bathrooms. That's probably your highest rate of return as a reno. I finished my basement. I've got painted new flooring. And I want to bring to your attention this. I've got a new furnace in my house. It's great. Fantastic. I got a new air conditioning unit in my house. Great. Fantastic. Oh, I just installed solar panels on my roof. And I'm getting paid, every month from Hydro for that. Fantastic. I got a new water softener in the house. You start hearing things like that, and you're laughing. I think you probably understand already where I'm going with this. Should that be a bit of a red flag for you to dig a little deeper? Why?
His wife's been number 29.
Pardon?
And they might have more, they might have taken it out.
So, yes and no. So on the credit side, yes, there's these operators out there. They are now have been banned in Ontario. And these people are predatory salespeople that go in and sell the furnaces, the hot water tanks, the water softeners, the solar systems, the AC, and they lease it back to the person over 15 years or 20 years. And what happens is they apply a thing called a NOSI, N-O-S-I, Notice of Security Interest. Notice of Security Interest. The provincial government right now is working on banning these things, but they still are in the world. This is an article from just two months ago about how bad these things are. If you go onto YouTube and just put in the search NOSI Ontario, you'll see a couple of exposés on this. And so what happens is they prey upon people and they get them to sign these things and they don't know what they've really signed. And these NOSIs act as like liens on a property, meaning you cannot transfer the property unless this has been removed. And typically in these people's contracts, the $3,000 furnace works out over 15 years to be $15,000 or $12,000. And I'm selling it now, it's only year 2 in my lease, right? Well, you got to buy this thing out, it's going to cost you $13,000. And people are like, what? They're not even aware of what they signed. When you are going through and asking these questions, how old's your furnace? When do you get, you want to ask these, do you own this or have you leased this? Please do this. We get lawsuits a couple of times a year on these things because they come back and try to blame us for it. You may want to have that as an actual question in your questionnaires with them. Do you have any lease programs? They're called NOSIs, okay? Latent defects. You know what a latent defect is? There's two things. There's a patent defect and a latent defect. What's a patent defect? That's the easier one. Visible. So you and me, our home inspector, the average Joe public could go and they can see the big hole in the wall, the big crack in the foundation because it's not been hidden. That's a patent defect. I see that. Now, if I'm concerned about that, I'm obligated as the buyer here to go and investigate that. If I don't, I can't go back to the seller, you know, after I close and say, yeah, there's a big crack here. Yeah, it was there when you showed the property. I saw it. Why didn't you look at it if you were worried about it? That's patent. A latent, that crack, if I hid the crack with furniture or a painting, or let's say I had this beautiful room full of hardwood, but there was a section here that was all damaged, but I put a couch over that. Could that be a latent defect? Could be. I hid the crack, you know, I've concealed it. Well, under TRESA right now, we've got the new regulation 22.21 that latent defects, if we are aware of them as realtors, we have to disclose them. And if we don't, we become a big part of the problem. So when you're doing your kind of walk around, by the way, I'd always recommend bringing a flashlight with you. Now, our phones kind of have those, but always have something where you can shine in, poke your head in the attic if you can. Look into, you know, the basements with your flashlights and stuff just to see. Because there's more requirements on us today than there ever has been. And with this new regulation 22.21, we don't want to be the first people to be tested on that by RICO, the first test case. Let somebody else be the first test case, okay? Where are we here? Number 6, do you have an idea what your hopes? That's a planning strategy. Number 7, location, size, proximity to schools. That's the features of the home. What first attracted you to the area? School, shopping, recreation, the size of the house, commuting. What's that one? Number 10, do you have a price range in mind? More or less than the current home. Financing and financing. We talked about the mortgage verification. But there's other products that you have in your mortgage. Can you port the mortgage? Does everybody know what a porting of a mortgage is? We can actually take the mortgage with us to where we're going, and we can add on, usually it's an add-on to the mortgage, right? And then we'll do a blending of the rate that you have with the rate that it's current, which is going to be higher if you got your mortgage 3 years ago. By the way, the other benefit too is, what do you call it? Drive a blank here. You can, I did a whole bunch of these in my career. You can, it's not a sign, but it's similar to the signing of a mortgage. You can, whew, I did like 5 or 6 of them in my career. Anyways, I could say your house is for sale and you've got a 5-year mortgage. There's 3 years left in it. It's at 2.9%. I can, I can't think of the word now. It's not assume, not a vendor take back. Anyways, I would go through the process. It's like an assignment. In fact, it's exactly the same assignment. So I can get approved by the lender and get that mortgage would be assigned. I'll say assigned to me. It's not assigned. And now I have this great rate because you did your mortgage 2 years ago. It was still 3%, and now it's at 6. So I can buy into that mortgage as long as the lender approves that. Now there's no penalty for me for discharging that as the homeowner. Me as the buyer, I'm getting a 3-year rate at 3%. 3-year rate's maybe 5%. It's a win-win for me, right? What happens? Huh?
Does that exist today?
Yeah, it's generally part of any type of mortgage portfolio. Maybe this called assumption. There's another technical term for it. Anyhow, I used to do those types of mortgages and sales back in the 90s as the realtor. And the only catch with those is the original homeowner, what's called the covenant. Their covenant on that mortgage is never released by the bank. So let's say I'm the buyer and I assume your mortgage. It is assumption, but there's
Yeah,
another
it's an assumable mortgage.
there's another word for it though, but we'll go with assume for now. I assume that mortgage, if I default on that, the bank can still go back to her. So it is a risk, right? But I did probably 5 or 6 of them in my career in the mid-90s. Big opportunities to do those because the rates popped really high for a period of time. And anybody that had the lower rate, it's a marketing strategy, right? Because there was a savings there. It was really cool. All right, Matt, we're going to jump to the other one, and I'm going to try and do the other one in 10 minutes here, right? We're going to go to listing module 4.
This is the one that I sent out this morning.
Yeah. Just go to the seller research stats thing.
Seller research stats.
Yeah. If I can get you done in this in 10 minutes, we're all caught up, which is really cool.
This one, yeah.
No, it's from my presentation.
Oh, yours. Okay,
Yeah.
1 second here.
So I want to finish with the other little dialogues I got for it. Remember, I promised you a couple of more dialogues. And it's really hot in here. I'm gonna get out of here, right?
There's just a lot of flipping back and forth.
That's it. Yeah.
Going all over the place.
You're a master at it. So these are seller research statistics, just to know from yourself when you're going to go to do a listing, because there's always there's always like, should I, if I know I'm in competition, should I wait for the other person to go in first and I come in later and wow them compared to the other person, or should I be the first? Well, according to this study, it's 14 years old, but I think it's probably pretty appropriate still. That's 66%. So 2/3 of all sellers actually choose the first realtor that comes in the list with. So if you're asking yourself the question, do you want to be the first, second, or third? What's your answer?
First.
You want to be the first, right? So we have, 5 people here in the room. If I'm in competition with you 5, and I know I am, and I have the opportunity to be the first one in, do you guys think you're going to get the chance to be the second, third, fourth, and fifth? I'm probably going to walk away with that listing. I'm going in to get a signed listing, right? I'm not going in for any other objective. And I'm razor sharp when I'm going to do my listing presentation. I'm coming out with the listing. And then, sellers sometimes give you the push drive. Sometimes almost all, I booked, with so many other people to come visit to do. Listen, I know you feel guilty about having to cancel. I get that. Give me their names. I do this all the time. I'll call them. I'll let them know that we've listed with you. That you feel really bad, but they've selected me. I'll take that burden away from you. Write that dialogue down. Some people feel pain that they have to cancel an appointment like that. Remove that pain point from them. No problem, Anita. I do this all the time. If you just give me the names of those realtors, I'll give them a call. I'll let them know that you've made a decision to work with me. I'll let them down gently. I'll let them know that they feel bad about this, but that they've chosen to work with me. So you let me handle that for them. Perfect, done. 19% will interview 2, 15% 3 or more. 63% of sellers would definitely use a realtor again or recommend them to others in that survey. But the most important thing for you to know there, you want to be the first person in. Don't say you're going to be second and third and you're going to wow them. You're going to show them everything that the first person didn't show them. Well, the first person's like me or you guys. Good luck to you. You're going to get that phone call, right?
From you.
From me or you, right? Those are fun calls to me. And they were really fun when I did it with people that were jerks in the business. And there's a lot of jerks in the business. We know that, right? Yeah. I had this one guy one time, still in the business, and he lost a client. I should say he lost a client to me. I earned the client. This person was working with them and he wasn't returning their calls. It's a family. It walked into my open house, hit it off with them, follow up with them, and they said that they had done some showings with this guy. Great, you got my agency with them? No, calls me whenever and go out. Perfect. I can put you on the system. I'll stay in touch with you. I'll give you some research. You've got a house. Have you done a CMA in your home? Because you're gonna have to site home, right? Yeah. No, we did. Don't worry about that until we find something. So no, I'll give you that so that you know what your house is worth. Let's know now, not when we found something. Anyways, I developed a relationship with them. They signed the buyer agency agreement with me. Then they listed the house before they bought a house. And this guy saw that. He called me. He got really angry. Why did you steal my client? I go, I didn't steal anything. You didn't sign them up. You barely followed up with these people. They were yours. They said your name, but you didn't fulfill any of their needs. So, not for nothing, I didn't steal nothing, right? You lost, I earned. So those people actually bought and sold six times. 6 times. Tell me that wasn't a profitable fund. When that happened, about 2 months later, I think I told the story, maybe this is the first time you heard it. About 2 months after that situation, I'm involved in a multiple offers situation. I'm bringing a buyer, not these buyers, by the way, another buyer. Turns out he's got a buyer for that. And there's like 5 of us competing for this listing. And so, you back then and by rights, you're supposed to go by the time you register your offer, right? So the first registered offer gets to present first, second, and these were being done in person. And so we were out in the porch of this property, and I'm standing there, and I knew a couple of the other agents I was competing with really well. And this guy pulls up in his car, and I go, oh God, this is gonna be right. I'm not letting I'm intimidated by anybody or anything like that, but this guy's, gonna see me. He's not gonna be still heard about this. And he came up and he was trying to be as polite as because he thought he was gonna get the offer. They were gonna be victorious. So we all go and do the presentation. I'm going to the third one, right? We all do the presentation, and then the selling agent calls us all in. It was an old couple retiring. Mine was a young couple. The dialogue I gave to you was the same one, right? It's a young couple. I mean, you saw her when I came in with her 2 kids. She wants to raise her 2 kids here. That's what actually got that house for my clients. That story, which was a true story, obviously. Right? And they brought us all in, and so lady's like, oh, it was so hard to pick, but Michael, your story, I can imagine that family raising a family like I did and my husband did. So congratulations to you and your client. Well, this other agent lost it. What the? I had to escort him out the property with another male agent. He went ballistic. Yeah. And then he tried to come back in the house, and they had a screen door. He opened the screen door, and he started coming back in. I got up. I was I was a hockey player, baseball player, and a martial artist. So, you know, I was like, this guy wants to go, that's fun. Anyways, I got up, started walking, and he got a little bit paranoid, and he pulled the door, swing door off. You're kidding. And so I told the lady, "Well, listen, I'll pay for that. He's an idiot. I'll pay for his damage. Don't you worry, right?" Just fun stories, right? In the business. And I actually had to work with that guy one more time. In my career. I had to work with him, get the listing. And it was my wife's best friends that I was working with. They're best friends. And I said to them right off, I go, you know, I know you want me to, but I recommend that somebody from my office do it for you, right? And I'll work behind the scenes because this might not happen. This is how much this guy hates me. And this property had been on the market for 120, 30 days. And it was an estate sale. And it was a beautiful property. The bones of it were beautiful, right? And my clients, you know, my wife's best friends, they wanted to roll up too, right? Anyways, I sold that property. So they wouldn't let me give it to somebody in the office. And I worked behind and said, nope, you have to do it. So I wasn't holding out much hope. And this was like 20 years later, or 15 years later. And the animosity the guy had was still there. So anyways, where are we doing? So we're gonna go back to the main page, main one there, if you can, Matt. What do sellers want? And I gotta get this done in 10 minutes, because it's already 2 o'clock, or 1 o'clock here.
Main number 4, sellers.
Yeah, what do sellers want? So in there, we're gonna say they want your negotiation ability, they want your strategy, and they want to leverage your network. Okay, that's what they're wanting from you. Your negotiation ability, the strategy you're going to develop for them, which is a traditional listing strategy or an aggressive one. We talked about that. And you want to leverage your network. That's your lender, your stager, your Airbnb person to let them get into an Airbnb for a weekend. And what do you, the agent, want to do? And this is how I look at it, and I've always looked at it. You want to deliver your gold medal performance, like you're an athlete at the Olympics, and you want to execute and win the gold medal. That's what you want to do. Or if you like the movies, you want to be the Academy Award winner. You want to give that Academy Award presentation. Okay. Next page, Matt. We'll walk through. Yeah. So I'm going to give you a little. How I would come into a property, right? So, you know, oh, by the way, be on time. If I can give you one big piece of advice, if you're booked at 7 o'clock, don't show up at 7:05. Show up at 6:55 and then knock on the door at 7. But be on time. That is crucial. I know people, and I've witnessed realtors literally lose the listing before it even started because they were late. I've actually got calls back from sellers. I hear it was fantastic. Amazing presentation. It was 7 o'clock and they showed up at 7:10. You know what they said to me? I go, I know what they said to you. You don't even have to tell me. Did they tell you that they were late because they were at another client's? Yeah. How do you know that? I go, because I hear it all the time. They don't want to hear that you were at another client's place. They are your only client in their mind. So be on time. Okay. The knock on the door. You know, Anita opens the door with her husband. How you doing? You know, we do our kind of rapport building. Maybe I saw your 1966 Mustang out in the driveway. That was my first car, by the way. I'm going to talk about that. Or I liked your strawberry bush, you know, your gardener. I'm trying to pick a cue up if I don't know you personally that I can make a compliment to break the ice, right? If I already know you, maybe I'm coaching your kid in hockey, little Johnny there, and oh, how's Johnny doing? Oh, he's practicing, or he's whatever, to break the ice. And before you go to where? Your kitchen? Because we all say, let's go sit down at the kitchen or the dining room table. I don't want to do that first. That's not my first step. It's in the foyer, in the hallway, rapport building, and it's like, hey, listen, before we go to the kitchen or dining room, wherever you're more comfortable, I'd love for you to give me a tour of your house like I'm a cash buyer today. That's the dialogue. I'd like you to give me a tour of your house like I'm a cash buyer today. Oh, okay. So point out the features of your house that you absolutely love. Because I might not pick up on those things because I don't live here. But maybe it's the amazing overhead rain shower you have. Maybe it's the jacuzzi tub you have. Maybe, I don't, let it point those things out for me. I used to always have a little binder with me and I made notes. And I would tell them, listen, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna jot down notes. I don't wanna forget anything you say. Is that okay with you? Yeah, sure, no problem. And I do make my notes. We go through the whole house and when we come back down to that main area, was it the kitchen you wanted to sit down with at, or the dining room table, whichever is more comfortable from you? Definitely away from a TV though, right? You don't want a distraction of a TV. Especially right now, it's playoff hockey time and I was selling a lot of hockey families. And you get a hockey game on with hockey people and you don't do business. So you want to be away from that. So as you're walking to wherever you're going, the kitchen or dining room, and this was taught to me my very first year by a sales guy. And I thought it was corny as all day, but I used it every time. And it would be like, you know what, Anita? This is before I sit down. You know what, Anita? You're gonna sell your house. So that builds confidence. Anita's like, I'm worried about selling my house. That's one of her biggest worries, is actually selling her house. Is this guy gonna sell her house? I make a declarative statement to her. When we're walking back, I've got a little, and this is, it's like this. Hand on hip, like this. I look at you, and I look up. Who am I looking up to? If you believe in God, I'm looking up
I
to
know,
God.
what is it called?
If I believe in God, I'm looking up to God. You know, Anita, I'm gonna sell your house. Declare that. Let's go sit down. I have taken away the anxiety of her house being sold. Then she's gonna get wowed by my presentation. Now, please practice that. It's a simple dialogue. Anita, I'm gonna sell your house. The first time I did it, I didn't practice it. The first time I did it, you know what words came out of my mouth? Anita, I'm not gonna sell your house. I was like,
Oh,
right. The first time I did it, because I thought I was, you know, cocky and all this and that, I said that. I did list the house and sell it, and it became a funny joke to us as clients and realtors, but practice, even simple things like that, you can mess them up. Where are we now? Do not, step 3, right? What I'll say here, expired list, I won't write. Make sure you include expired listings in every one of your listing presentations because they are the failed examples. As I said before, people don't generally go into listing their house and being inconvenienced for 60 or 90 days to expire. So expired listings are very, very important. They become this kind of lost element of listing presentations where people are only showing active and solds, and you're leaving out this entire body of listings that show complete failures. And here's a little pro tip for you. If you know you're going to be in competition with somebody, and of course you're going in first, and if you know you're in competition with Matt, and there's a couple listings that expired that Matt had, you may want to have them. Just a pro tip for you. Oh yeah, Matt, you said Matt was going to come in. Yeah, here's one of Matt's that expired. Oh, here's another one of Matt's that expired. Just saying. And those top producers that we all worry about, they have a ton of expired listings. I don't know.
I did that at Sam McDaddy, like I went to.
I'm not saying any names.
Yeah, I went to a listing presentation and she told me I was up against one of the agents from that team. So I showed them some expired listings.
So you probably heard me say that before, right? You could bring an actual encyclopedia book of his expired listings, not to name his name. You named it, I did. Yes, they are gold. If you know you're competing with somebody, go and show the failures of that person. Just saying. Okay, we're gonna go to I think it's talking points, Matt.
I asked him who was the competition. Who was like the things.
We're gonna finish with this here. Oh, there you go. right there. I want you to burn into your mind objection dialogues for those four. Are they there? Another realtor said they would cut their commission. Is this going to be something that you experience? You think somebody's going to say, oh, hey, Mike, John said that they would cut their commission. Is that going to be a question you think you're going to get asked? Right.
I like number 2.
Number 2 is the one I highlighted too. That's my favorite. Go ahead, read it.
If this realtor
Hang on,
had,
we're gonna role play. Okay, everything you said today sounds pretty good. And I think you can get my house sold, but Matt told me that you'd cut his commission. Would you cut your commission?
well, if this realtor cannot even negotiate no fee, how likely do you think they will be able to negotiate the sale of your home?
That's so
So good.
amazing. That was my go-to response. You know what, Matt? Matt, if that other realtor doesn't even know his value and cuts his own fee, cuts his own income, reaches into his pocket and throws it away, what do you think the likelihood he's going to also give away your money when it comes time to negotiate your house? That's another version of that. It's like, I'm giving my money away as the realtor. When it comes time to actually fight for your money as the homeowner, if I'm giving mine away, you think I'm going to be able to fight for yours? So Matt probably knows his value better than I do, and that's why he's doing that. But I just kind of caution you, he's probably going to do that to you when he's negotiating to sell your house. Okay, right? Yeah, that's number 4 I like. We are talking about a realtor who has already admitted that he does not see value in themselves. Is that the realtor you want to represent yourself in the most valuable transaction in your life? The other one is if it sells quickly, will you cut your commission? I love number 1. This was my comeback. So if I do a really poor job and take longer to sell your house, you want to pay me more? So if I sell it quickly, I got to cut my commission. The flip side of that, if I take longer, you're going to pay me more. You're not going to do that, right? No, if I sell it quickly, I've succeeded. I've actually accomplished what you're looking for. Maybe you should be thinking about paying me a bonus. Anyways, I wanted those 3 dialogues to finish off this session. Just remember the number 2, the other realtor. If the other realtor is going to cut their commission, what's the likelihood that they're going to, cut your sale price, basically, right? I think we're done, Matt. Or was there any slides that I had left? Did I have the marketing strategy one up as well?
Yeah, I got that one available.
Okay, just do these real quickly.
I have a question. Some of
Sure.
them, they ask for cashback as well.
A cashback?
From the commission, like you get, and then you pay back something like on the buyer side or seller side.
Yeah. Can I explain about that? What's it?
Like how to handle those like objections.
Well, anybody that's looking for a cashback, and a lot of people are going to ask you for a cashback, is that going to be the thing that determines whether you're going to work with me or not? Is the objective here for me to sell your house for the least amount of money in the least amount of time and net you the most amount of money? Or is your objective here for me to rebate you something of my fee where I may not have been able to succeed in the objectives that we have laid out here today? Because there's 2 different things. We're saying one is just we're going to give money away, or one, I'm going to protect your money and actually going to execute and deliver what I say I'm going to deliver. I'm going to net you more money. So we have to figure out and distinguish what that looks like. Now, some people build that into their models. They do rebating all the time. There's lots of it happening. But if you build this value around these things, right? And so we didn't do a listing presentation, like a mock listing presentation, but if we did and you saw and you were really a seller, right? Because these are artificial. This is a classroom. It's artificial. There's no way artificial translates into the real world where you have a real seller that needs to sell. And I go through what I do, that somebody's going to actually, generally, in my case, ask me that question anyways, right? One of the comebacks that just popped into my mind, again, you got to practice this stuff. But I was feeding my brain all the time. I'm a manager now, I'm a broker. I haven't sold in 17 years. Well, one of That just popped out of my head again there. It's been a long day for me. It'll come back to me and I'll probably mention it next week, but there was something I was gonna say that I had an objection on it. No, I'll get back to you on it. Pop up those ones. These are just very basic marketing strategy things, just to perk your mind, kind of prod your mind, and adding to your personal thing. It's not there, it's on your book. Because I came with my own book as well, like my own presentation book. And you want to build out, I called it my brag book, actually, or my CV, right? Which is a resume type of platform. And inside of that had all these kind of other strategies. This one's very basic. And show the other one, Matt, which is the scheduled timelines one. So this one's a 7-day chart, but I had like mine built out to 90 days, right? So 90-day listing that I would take. This is just the first page, day 1 to 7. And it would be my 8 to 15 type of thing. And these were all these tasks. People like to see, what are you doing? Because they think all you do again is what? Just listed on MLS, right? You're doing nothing more, nothing less, but just all these things that I'm doing. Okay. I think that's the last thing I got, right? Believe so. Okay. 1:15. 15 minutes extra, but we did 2 classes in one. Thank you very much, everybody. Next week we are doing, what are we doing next week, Matt?
Negotiations.
I'm doing negotiations next week, and then the following week we'll have Emilio do our case studies, Harvard case studies and negotiations, where we're going to give you some, books and stuff. We'll have a lunch. If you can make it, if at home here, it's better that you're here. If not, Matt will take care of building you into breakout sessions. But we'd love to have you in the room if at all possible. Okay. Have a good weekend, everybody. And
Thank
we'll
you
see
very
next
much.
week. All right. Cheers.